Alright, so this is an introduction test review, and the first question asks about the very first document that we looked at in this class. The first document recorded in British history to limit a king or a monarch. The very first document in 1215 to limit a king was called the Magna Carta. The three types of English colonies were the proprietary colony, the charter colony, and the royal colony. All three colonies had varying degrees of independence or autonomy. So of the 13 colonies, some of them were royal, some of them were proprietary, some of them were charter. Each had different degrees of independence. Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence is written by Thomas Jefferson in 1776. The Boston lawyer who defends the accused British soldiers after the Boston Massacre is John Adams, and the mastermind behind some of the behavior of the Sons of Liberty was Samuel Adams, his cousin. The famous American who was famous for his midnight ride, warning that the British were coming, is Paul Revere. First president of the First Continental Congress, John Hancock. That's why his signature is first on the Declaration of Independence. The general of the Continental Army for the United States is General George Washington, and the war itself, while it begins in 1776 and our Constitution is not ratified until 1788, where you have 12 years, the war itself is between 6 and 7 years long. The type of government that we had during this time was an Articles of Confederation, a loose organization of 13 different states. Had very limited power. The event that kind of led Federalists and bankers to realize that a much stronger, more central organized government was necessary, and so they called a constitutional convention. This was called Daniel Shays' Rebellion. This was an event in Massachusetts that led to the Constitutional Convention. A state that benefits most from the Virginia plan offered was a state that has high population or large population. Those states that had low population would benefit most from a plan submitted by New Jersey. The resulting compromise between the Virginia plan and the New Jersey plan was the Great Compromise. They added a bicameral legislative branch, including both plans, a House based on population and a Senate based on equal representation from each state. The 3/5 compromise is a compromise between northern and southern states, or free and slave states. And then the compromise between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists is to ratify the Constitution and then afterwards add a Bill of Rights later. The father of the Constitution, or the author of the Constitution, is James Madison. John Jay, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton were instrumental in helping to get this ratification vote in the essential states of Virginia and New York. This was done partially through the use of the Federalist Papers. How many states were necessary for ratification? 9, but they all knew that they needed Virginia, they needed New York. And after ratification, George Washington becomes the first president of the United States. The three branches of government that exist in our Constitution are the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. And know the last state to ratify the Constitution. In addition, there may be some math questions, basic math questions regarding the Virginia plan and the New Jersey plan, also the 3/5 plan. So that concludes a very short review to an intro test for the Honors U.S. History course.